you came to Hughlett Chiropractic and how has that helped you in your life?
Well, I came to Dr. Hughlett because I had a chronic pain in my shoulders, in between my shoulders. And so I came in and I saw him, and he gave me, the x-ray and exam, and he told me that, yes, I did have a curvature. And so I started seeing him, and the pain started getting better. But I also noticed something else that started happening, and that was that for the first time since I lived in North Texas, I had not had a sinus infection during allergy season, and also hadn't had any other type of upper respiratory infections. And it had really been a problem for years, and it was a problem that got worse over time. It got to where the sinus infections were going into bronchitis, and I'd even had pneumonia 2 times. And so this doctor told me one time when I was being treated, he said, you need to do something about this because you're damaging your lungs. So I started seeing an allergy specialist, and I did what he said to do for a year, but it never got better. So I kind of stopped doing it. But ever since I've started seeing Dr. Hughlett and going regularly, I've not had any type of allergy, any types of problems. I've not had any sinus infections. I've not had any types of upper respiratory infections. So that's one thing that's happened. Another story I can share with you is that several years ago, I was walking my dog, and we do this every morning, and another dog started attacking my dog. And my dog leaped up in the air, and I came down, and I broke my nose, and I had to have stitches above my eyebrows, and I cracked my knee. So I went to the emergency room, and they gave me a brace for my knee, and it was still really kind of painful. So I made an appointment with this highly respected orthopedic surgeon, and he examined my knee, and he came back and he said, well, the good news is you won't have to have surgery. And he said, but the bad news is that it's never really going to get better. So the pain that I'd been feeling was just going to be something I'd have to live with. I mean, I could walk, but it was like when I could not kneel down, it was, painful, or, and I could feel it sometimes when I would shift my legs. So I just thought, okay, this is what I'm going to live with. But during this time, I had not seen Dr. Hughlett because I got so busy with these other appointments and working and everything. So I just came back and I started with my adjustments again. And then one day I noticed that I did not have any pain in my knee, and that I could actually kneel down. And so that and I know what that was. It was from my chiropractic care. And then another thing that happened is about 4 years ago. I went in and I had an eye exam, and this doctor does not examine just for vision, but also eye health. And so they came back and they put the images on and showed them to me, and they said, well, you have macular degeneration. And I knew that was really serious because that means you will lose your vision. You could lose your vision, and there's nothing they can really do about it. So I asked him again because I'd heard that, and I said, well, what can I do? And he said, well, there's really nothing, and it won't get better. You can only hope it won't get worse, but you can take this supplement. And so actually I didn't take it because I was taking some other supplements, but I did just continue seeing Dr. Hughlett. And then about 2 years later, I went back in again for another exam, and they said, the doctor showed the images, and I said, well, how? And he said, well, everything's really healthy. And I said, well, what about my macular degeneration? And she said, well, you don't have macular degeneration. And I said, but I did. And she said, well, no, you're lucky you didn't, because if you have it, it never gets better. And I said, but they did tell me I did have it. So she said, well, and I said, it was 2 years ago. So she looked back at my records, and she said, oh, you did. And so the only thing that was, the only thing that could be attributed to is seeing Dr. Hughlett, and my chiropractic care. So, so I feel very grateful, for seeing Dr. Hughlett. And one thing I can say is that, when I go regularly, I know now that this is not something I do just when I have pain, that this is part of my maintenance and keeping myself healthy. And I know it takes time and it takes money, but then I think about, well, what would it cost when you get sick? And what happens to your life? And I've seen this happen with so many people, So anyway, so I'm really grateful for everything he's done. After my adjustment, I feel better. And one reason I feel better is, I physically feel better. But I also feel better because I know I'm doing something that's important to take care of myself. And it, like I say, it's easy to get busy and think that you don't have time to come in for an adjustment, but it's something that I know that is important for my health care, so I feel like I'm doing something that's good. And so I feel good in that way too.